Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. It's hard to know where to start. This has been weighing on me for so long. And now that everything has come to light, I feel like I have to explain the whole situation just to figure out if I'm truly in the wrong. I'm a mom of one. My daughter, let's call her Emily, has always been the center of my world. I raised her on my own after her father left us when she was just a toddler. It wasn't easy, but I did what every parent does. I gave it my all. I worked long hours, made sacrifices, and ensured that she had a stable, loving home. Over time, things settled, and I was able to build a decent life for the two of us. Emily grew up, got married, and had kids of her own. When she had her first child, she and her husband were both working demanding jobs. Naturally, I offered to help out. I became the unofficial babysitter. No payment, no formal agreements, just a grandmother stepping in to make life easier. I watched the kids during the day, picked them up from school, and stayed with them on weekends when she and her husband needed some alone time. I loved my grandkids, and I wanted to be there for them. But after a few years, it became less of a favor and more of an expectation. Emily stopped asking if I was available. She just told me when she needed me. "Mom, we'll be back around 9. Can you feed them and make sure they finish their homework?" There was no question, no concern for whether I might have plans. And it wasn't just occasionally. This was every week, multiple times a week. If I ever mentioned having something else to do, I'd get the guilt trip. "But you're the only one who can handle them." I don't remember the last time she even thanked me for helping. It was just assumed that I'd be there, like a live-in nanny without the pay or benefits. Over the years, it wore on me. I started to feel invisible. No one noticed or cared that I was giving up my time, my social life, and sometimes even my health to take care of her kids. It didn't seem to occur to Emily that I might have my own needs. But I kept quiet. I told myself that it was worth it because I was helping my family. Then, about a year ago, I got the news. I had been feeling off for a while, tired, run down, just not myself. I figured it was age or stress. But when I finally went to the doctor, they ran a series of tests. That's when I got the call. The word cancer hit me like a freight train. Everything blurred. I sat there with the phone to my ear, listening to the doctor talk about treatment options and next steps. And all I could think was, how am I going to get through this? I called Emily the next day. I needed her to know, to understand what I was facing. I thought maybe this would be the moment when she'd step up and support me. After all, I'd spent the last 15 years supporting her. Surely when it was my turn, she'd be there. I explained the situation, the diagnosis, the chemo, the fact that I was scared out of my mind. I told her I'd need some help, not constant care, just someone to take me to appointments, pick up groceries when I was too weak, maybe stay with me after the more grueling treatments. Her response? "That's awful. What are we going to do without you? We need you to take care of the kids." I was shocked. I said I would be very weak because of the treatments I would be getting, and I definitely won't be able to take care of the kids. Also, I will need help myself. I paused and said that I was hoping she could come help me a little because I don't have anyone else. That's when she suggested I hire a nurse. Just like that. No hesitation, no offer to pitch in. Just hire a nurse. I remember sitting there, holding the phone, stunned. "Hire a nurse," I repeated. "Yeah," she said. "It'll be easier for everyone. That way, you can get the professional help you need, and we can focus on the kids. It's really the best solution." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. After everything I'd done for her, after all the times I dropped everything to take care of her family, she couldn't even consider helping me. It wasn't like I was asking her to move in or give up her job. I just needed a bit of support. But to her, it was too much trouble. I felt anger and heartbreak. I ended the call and sat there, trying to process what had just happened. I thought about all the times I'd been there for her, all the weekends I gave up, all the plans I canceled. And now, when I needed her, she couldn't be bothered. So I did what she suggested. I hired a nurse. I went through my treatments, endured the chemo, and came out the other side. The nurse was kind, and I'm grateful for her help. But it wasn't the same as having family there. I went through one of the most terrifying experiences of my life, essentially alone. Emily rarely called to check in, and when she did, it was a quick, "How are you?" before she went back to talking about her kids' schedules. After finishing treatment, I had a lot of time to think. I realized how one-sided our relationship had become. I'd given so much to her over the years, and when it was my turn to need something, she had nothing to offer. It wasn't about the money for a nurse. It was about the fact that she didn't care enough to show up, or to ask how am I doing, or do I need any help? That's when I decided to change my will. For years, Emily was set to inherit everything. It made sense, she's my only child. But now, I wasn't so sure. I couldn't ignore the fact that when I needed her most, she turned away. So I made changes. I left a portion to my grandchildren's college funds and donated the rest to cancer research and charities that helped me through my treatments. It felt like the right thing to do. If she couldn't show up for me when it mattered, why should I leave her anything? I didn't tell her. I figured I'd cross that bridge if it ever came up. But then my mother, who's never been great at keeping secrets, let it slip. And now Emily knows. She's been calling, texting, leaving voicemail after voicemail. At first, she was crying, asking me why I'd do this. "After everything we've been through, you just cut me out," she said. Then the messages turned angry. "This is so spiteful. I can't believe you'd punish me like this." Punish her? I wasn't trying to punish her. I just finally saw our relationship for what it was, one-sided. I'm not cutting her out to be mean. I'm making a decision based on how she treated me when I needed her. And now, all she seems to care about is the money. Some of my friends say I should reconsider, that she's my daughter and I should give her another chance. Others say I'm justified, that it's my estate and I have the right to decide what's fair. I don't know. Part of me feels like I'm being too harsh. But another part feels like this is the only way to make her understand that relationships aren't a one-way street. So, am I the a-hole for changing my will and leaving her out after she refused to help me when I was sick? Or am I doing the right thing by standing my ground and finally prioritizing myself for once? I don't think OP is an a-hole. She gave her years of support, basically raised her kids for her, and when OP was at her lowest, she couldn't be bothered. This isn't about punishing her. It's about recognizing who was actually there for her. I think OP is making a thoughtful choice, and it's OP's right to decide where her estate goes. OP should not let her guilt trip OP into changing her mind. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Not the a-hole. It sounds like she only cares now because it affects her pocketbook. Where was this level of concern when you needed help during your treatment? Your decision isn't cruel. It's fair. You're making it clear that relationships need to go both ways. And honestly, she's lucky you're even considering the grandkids' college funds after the way she treated you. Not the a-hole. If she'd shown any empathy or support during your illness, you wouldn't even be in this situation. She made her choice then, and now you're making yours. Don't feel guilty for setting boundaries and reassessing priorities after such a one-sided relationship. She's not entitled to your money just because she's your daughter. Not the a-hole. People don't seem to understand that inheritance isn't a guaranteed payout. It's your money, and you have every right to decide how it's distributed. Her behavior during your time of need speaks volumes. This isn't about being spiteful. It's about ensuring your legacy goes to causes and people who matter to you. Good for you for standing up for yourself. I'll start my story with a little bit of background about myself. I come from a middle-class Indo-Pakistani background. My early years were spent in Saudi Arabia because my father worked there. However, at the age of 6, he passed away in a car accident, and my family was thrown into disarray. My father owned some property in the kingdom, but ownership laws over there are really stupid, and after his death, we lost everything he owned because his friends, employer, and boss maneuvered to get their hands on all of his stuff. The next few years saw us plunged into very, very hard times. To give you some idea of what life was like for us, our dinners regularly consisted of stale Somali bread and milk. My mom always put my sister and my happiness before her own, and worked herself to the bone to send us through school. We eventually moved to Canada and went to school here. My mom remarried a few years ago and had 2 more kids with her new husband. My new stepfather is not particularly well off, but he does his best, and he makes my mom happy. Now, my fully biological sister is in university and needs financial support every now and then. My half-brothers are still young kids and could really use a few things now and then, clothes and such. Every summer I also pay for some things like swimming classes or piano lessons because I always wanted to partake, but we never had the money. I've been sending my mom money every month for years, and now that her new kids are growing up, I want to help her set aside money for their education. This is where my husband-to-be comes in. He has had a completely different kind of life. His parents are very wealthy, and as a result, he lived very comfortably. He is not flashy with his wealth, but he does buy lots of little things regularly. When I visit his house with my mom, I notice that there are stacks of unopened boxes from online stores, shrink-wrapped video games, and unopened cartoon figurines. As of now, our finances are separate, and because supporting my stepbrothers would be a new financial decision, I decided to ask him what he thinks about me putting away my money for my half-brother's future schooling. To my surprise, he is completely against it. Not because the amount that I would be sending my mom is too much, but because he thinks it shows that I'm not committed to marrying him or committed to our future children. I don't really understand his line of reasoning. I'm helping my mother and my half-brothers because I don't want my mother to have to work any harder than she does, and because I want to make my family's life easier. My fiance, however, is threatening to leave me because he says I spend my money on useless stuff, and I'm not saving for our future. Again, I do not understand. I don't know exactly how much he makes, but going off some rough estimates on Glassdoor.com, I know that I make enough that after sending money to my family and buying the bare necessities, that I still have more left over every month than he makes in a month. So why is he upset that I'm spending on things that matter, like family? Last week, his mother called me and told me that I should take his threat of leaving seriously, because it would be much worse for me than him, since no respectable Muslim man would want to marry a girl who had her wedding canceled after already having an engagement. I'm really frustrated at this point because I don't understand where any of this is coming from. I'm scared that I'll be a spinster forever. I haven't told my mother because I know she would react by getting angry at me and telling me to listen to him because her needs aren't important. I just wanted his opinion on giving money to my family. I still have enough money left over to provide for us, but he is really upset about this. My experiences have made me a really careful spender. My only me-time spending in the last month was a book I ordered off of Amazon and some lifting shoes. I don't like spending money on anything I don't need, and I prefer to live simply because after a difficult childhood, what I crave most is stability and a nice dinner, not possessions. How do I deal with this situation? Oh my God! He told his mom and she called you? They don't own you, yet. They are acting like some slave owners. No woman will be happy marrying such a man. You are a free woman and a good daughter. I am sure your religion teaches people to be good to their parents. I am surprised he didn't volunteer to help out with your family. What about duty? I thought Muslim family is supposed to help each other. Don't be afraid to break up with him. Marriage is not just about love. It is a merger of assets and debt. What is your money, debt, becomes his, and what is his money, debt, is yours, assuming no prenup. So if you get married, you giving your money to your family turns into you giving both your money to your family. That being said, you giving family money does not mean you are not committed to him. He might want for both of you to save up for a house when you get married. He may be concerned that this will not be a one-time thing and does not wish to support in-laws indefinitely. You need to sit down and talk. You two may be compatible in many ways, but you may not be financially compatible. Your in-laws sound like a treat, too. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. I, 23, have been the stepmom to my boyfriend's 30, 2 kids for the last 2 years. Him and birth mom trade off the kids every week. So last year, we had the kids, they're 4 and 6, for my birthday. No problem. We had a blast, kept it low-key, and I was fine with that. Well, this year rolled around, and I knew it would be their weekend to be with their mom on my birthday. Great! I can plan something with no kids and throw a real party and relax with drinks and friends and all that good stuff. I'm in my early 20s, and I doubt most people my age would feel otherwise. So I decided to rent a really nice place with a pool and just invite all my friends and boyfriend's family, parents, siblings. No kids, seeing as my boyfriend's kids aren't coming either. Well, now he tells me that he's going to have the kids' mom drop off the kids at the rental house on my actual birthday, day one of the weekend, and we'll have them for the day, night. I'm really blunt, and I tell him I was just thinking we could keep it no kids, because that was the original plan. Am I the a-hole? When we have the kids, I am 100% their mother figure, and therefore they need me for everything. I am never alone. My name is always being called, and I just want a weekend. My weekend, where I can let loose and enjoy myself and not have to worry about babysitting. I understand that some of boyfriend's family might come, but I don't see how that's excluding the kids if they were already supposed to be at their designated parents' home for that weekend anyway. Well, now understandably, my boyfriend is very upset. And I don't know if it's just the age difference, and maybe he's just far more mature than I. But in my mind, I sure as hell will be planning occasional kid-free parties, vacations, when I have children of my own. Bottom line is, I just want to cancel the whole thing if it means I have to babysit the entire time, and not be able to relax for the party, weekend that I'm literally paying for myself. I feel like I deserve it. Plus, the kids are always fighting and crying, and I just do not feel like dealing with that for one time. Am I the a-hole? Update. He is genuinely upset with me now, calling me selfish, that I don't know what it's like to have kids. I'm deliberately excluding them, leaving them out for a fun memory, etc. I'm not sure how that's the case if they weren't originally supposed to be there in the first place, seeing as it's their mom's week. Any thoughts? Not the a-hole. Tell your boyfriend to get a babysitter for his kids because you already have plans for that weekend. Not the a-hole. You planned an adult, no kids activity for your birthday on a weekend your boyfriend does not have his children. He has zero business making arrangements to drop his kids off at your adults-only party without your knowledge or consent. It's not an age difference thing. It's a mutual respect and courtesy thing, and he was not respectful of your plans or courteous to you. Not the a-hole. If you two were married and both these children were fully your children, no other parent, no custody agreement, it would still be okay for you to want an adults-only party and/or weekend away. Parents get time that is child-free. Sure, it can be a luxury that not every parent has access to, but for parents that have family, friends that are happy to babysit, aka not expected to, or have the money for a sitter, then great. My parents used to take weekends away a few times a year. Family was happy to have us. We were happy to do fun stuff. You planned this party knowing that the children wouldn't be around. Therefore, you aren't pushing the kids on anyone, nor are you upsetting any schedule. You laid out a plan that was child-free, and people accepted based on that, and you continued to plan around it. Go back to your boyfriend and be firm no, this is a child-free party, and you knew that. I planned it on a weekend where the kids wouldn't be with you at all, and he should have consulted you before changing any plans. The children can't be there. The end. Boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years. I have known his brother, who I will call R, for most of that time. We have always gotten on well enough. The whole situation started with my 21st birthday party. We had a party at home with 20 or so friends of family. R was of course present at the party, along with a few other members of boyfriend's family. The party was going reasonably well. As it started to get later, I started to get a little tipsy, and most of the guests had started to go home. It eventually got down to a drunken little group made up of myself, boyfriend, R, and a couple of my girlfriends. We were sitting outside, and one of my girlfriends decided to get on the trampoline. She managed to execute a pretty cool flip, and I expressed that I wished I knew how to do one. My friend talked me into giving it a try. I got up on the tramp, stumbled drunkenly, and fell down laughing. Everyone else, except for boyfriend, was laughing also. It didn't seem like much of an event until boyfriend got up, muttered, ducking pathetic, and in angry tone, and then told me that we needed to speak in private. I was pretty confused as to what was going on, so I asked him why. He answered me with, "Just stop being a stupid cow for a second and come to the bedroom." Both of my friends and R looked pretty shocked at this. But before I followed boyfriend to the bedroom, I told them it was fine and boyfriend was probably just messing around. He can have a real temper sometimes, particularly after a few drinks, But I didn't think that would be the case in this instance, as literally nothing upsetting had happened. Cut to me and boyfriend in the bedroom. He shuts the door and starts really going off. He tells me that I'm a disgusting drunk idiot, and that I was showing off like some kind of pathetic wannabe by messing around on the trampoline. That I was an embarrassment to him, and that I was to go to bed now and not leave the room until morning, so that I wouldn't be more of an idiot in front of company. As this is going on, he is getting louder and louder and is slamming things around the room. I went to leave as I was quite upset at this point, but he blocks the door, so I sit down on the bed. R is banging on the door and tells boyfriend to open it. Boyfriend goes out into the hall, and I can hear he and R arguing. Next thing I know it, R comes into the room and says to go with him. I was sobbing like crazy at this point, because I hate confrontation in general, so I just nod and go with him. R makes sure my other friends have left, and then we both get into a taxi. I don't know where boyfriend is gone, but he is still in the house somewhere. I'm crying a bunch in the car, and I don't say much, but R calls his boyfriend's mother and gives her a brief rundown of what happened. We got to R's place. He lives with a couple, and they were all really nice. The girl roommate lent me some stuff to sleep in, and R told me to take his bed and he would sleep on the couch. I was kind of all over the place, but eventually got some sleep. Next morning, I got up and had coffee with R and one of his roommates. R asked if boyfriend had behaved like that before, and I let him know about boyfriend's temper, but explained he had never blown up over something as insignificant as me mucking around on a trampoline. I asked R if he thought maybe I did or said something that might have upset boyfriend and didn't realize due to being tipsy. But R said no, and that boyfriend's behavior was unacceptable. I felt silly and embarrassed, especially knowing that R and my friends had heard everything boyfriend had said, and I told R I had better get home and try to sort things out. R said that he wanted to stay at his place for just a bit longer to calm down, and that he would really rather prefer that I didn't go home straight away, as boyfriend could still be angry. I gave in and hung out there with R and his roommates. We all just played video games and got some takeout, and I ended up feeling much better afterward, so I'm glad I stayed. Early evening, I told R I should really go home. I didn't have any of my clothes, and more importantly, I needed my stuff for university the next day. He drove me over but didn't really want me to go inside. I told him I would really be fine and promised I would call him if anything happened. He agreed but said he would wait outside for a few minutes just in case. I got inside and boyfriend wasn't home, so I told R to go and went about tidying up from the party. Boyfriend eventually showed up and seemed calm enough. I told him I thought we needed to have a talk, and he agreed. We sat down on the couch, and I explained to him that I didn't like the way he spoke to me last night and asked for an explanation. His response was, "I will discuss that with you after you delete R's phone number. You won't be speaking to him again." I was confused as hell at this and asked what that had to do with the matter at hand. He told me that R disrespected him by interfering in our relationship and that we were cutting ties with him. He told me he wouldn't discuss anything else about the night until I did that. I told boyfriend I thought that was pretty unnecessary and that R had been trying to help me because boyfriend was acting really threatening and that I would have probably done the same in R's shoes. Well, boyfriend did not like that. He yelled, called me some names, and left the house. After a few hours, he sent me a text. "I am sorry for yelling, but you need to respect what I want if you want the same in return. This can't be one-sided. Delete R's number and we will finish the conversation. Love you." I replied that I needed a little time to think and said I would be sleeping in the spare room when he got home and to please leave me alone for a while. I went to bed, heard boyfriend come in very late. He opened the door to the spare room and turned the light on, but as I woke up, he just walked out of the room and slammed the door. So this morning I've woken up, boyfriend is at work, and I have a text from R. It says, "Hey, blank. I hope you're okay. Look, what boyfriend did the other night is really not all right, and I think you should get out of there for a while. I've talked to blank and blank, and it's totally fine for you to crash here until you figure out what you want to do." So that leaves me where I am now. Don't know what to do about the situation. Do as boyfriend asks and cut contact with R, or take R's offer of some space away from boyfriend to clear my head. My worry is that if I stay at R's, that will destroy any chance of fixing things with boyfriend. Advice very much appreciated. Damn right your boyfriend wants you to stop contacting R. After all, R objected to him treating you aggressively. You deserve so much better. Your boyfriend is emotionally aggressive, and he uses the fact that you hate confrontation to control and manipulate you. Before I even reached the part of this post where he said to delete R from your phone, every instinct I have was screaming that you need to run to the hills. This is not a good guy. If even his brother's upset and supporting you here, that's a good sign that the way he treats you is beyond ducked up. Please, please leave him. Please. You deserve so much better than someone who belittles and tries to control you. In no universe is what he did okay. Telling you to stay up in the bedroom so he wouldn't be embarrassed? Like you're a small child being grounded. Every single red flag is waving here. Please get out. And stay friends with R. He seems like a solid good guy.